So DC Comics recently released a comic book called Batman Urban Legends, and at the end of the comic book it's revealed that Tim Drake's Robin is bisexual, and people online are losing their fucking shit, and I think it's hilarious. My thoughts on it are that it's a bold choice, it's interesting, it's adding a new dimension to the character. It's, in the name of inclusivity, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good thing, and I think people losing their minds are just being hilarious, and I'm going to get into that now. In this video I'm going to be looking at this one particular guy that's fucking mad about it, and there's a lot of people online that are mad about it, but I think this video is interesting and I'm going to dissect this. So the first video I'm going to look at is called Tim Drake's Robin Heterosexuality Goes Bye Bye, and it's by Heel versus Babyface. I think this video is pretty funny. Let's get into it. Goddamn ad. I'm paying this guy's fucking rent now. I'm giving him a tuppence.
A couple of months ago, I did a video about DC looking like they were going to turn Tim Drake, the third Robin, into a bisexual or gay character for some reason.
So that's interesting. He says he's already made a video about this and it looked like DC were going to make this character bi or gay. So this like sudden shock and reaction I don't think is valid, because they've been hinting at it and a lot of comic book readers have kind of seen this coming and wanted this to happen. So it's not like this is just a sudden absolute shift in tone. This is something that has been built up and fans have expected it to come. And this guy even expected it to come. So I think his outrage and his absolute shock is ridiculous.
Now, the confusion, of course, lies in the fact that Tim Drake has been around for 32 years. He was first appeared in 1989. I think it was in A Lonely Place of Dying.
So this guy basically now is just flexing his muscles, his comic book knowledge, and showing, oh, I read a lot of comics. Here's a lot of comic knowledge that I know.
And then he became an exceedingly popular character.
Robin 1,
got his
2,
own
3,
which I think ran, and then eventually went on to getting his own ongoing series. He was a much more sensible
he had very
Robin.
interesting stories and relationships.
Yeah, we get it. You don't have to show your credentials. We understand that you're a comic book guy. You look like a fucking comic book guy.
He got together with another vigilante that went by the name of, spoiler, Stephanie Brown. For about 32 of these years, I gotta say around 20 of those, Tim and Stephanie have been an item. And then, of course, DC suddenly split them up.
So he's talking about how Tim Drake had this ongoing relationship in the comics with a character called Stephanie Brown. So all the headlines and the implications of the comic itself are that Tim is bisexual. So I think part of the misunderstanding with this guy is that he often in the video refers to him as gay, and that's not the case. So he's using the Stephanie Brown information to say, oh, well, he had a girlfriend, he can't possibly be gay, but he's bi, and that's, bi people can date both men and women. So it's kind of funny that he's using this as evidence as to why Tim Drake shouldn't be bi, when that's the nature of bisexuality, that people can date men and women.
They just suddenly went, oh, hey, Tim, fancy some cock?
Yikes, that's fucking horrendous. That's such a oversimplification. That's just ridiculous. I like how he's saying the word suddenly. And previously in the video he said this has been hinted at, and he's already made a video how he thought DC was going in this direction, but now he's using the word suddenly, like, oh, nobody saw this coming, this wasn't predicted or wanted by the fans or hinted at all, it just suddenly happened.
And so they were sort of toying with the idea by the looks of it, and it looks like they're going ahead with that.
And then he just said they're toying with the idea. So it wasn't sudden. It was hinted at, it was built up, it was a progression, people saw it coming, they knew it was coming, and now you're acting like it's so sudden, but you're saying that it was hinted at the same time.
And we have this snippet from a comic coming out today, I believe, where he's fighting alongside some dude. If I don't make it, can I ask a favor? You'll make it out. Please tell Tim Drake he helped me realize my true self. Who I am, tell him. Well, he probably knows. He's the smartest guy I've ever met. But tell him, I wish we could have finished our date.
His little fake gay voice, his little like stereotypical camp voice is hilarious. It's very revealing about what this guy feels about same-sex couples.
And then Tim turns up at his door. He's like, Tim, hi, I'm glad you're here. I've been meaning, I wanted to say, Bernard, wait. Let me talk. I want your cock.
Ooh, there he goes again with the... That's just fucking... This guy is... This guy, I get he's trying to be funny, he's trying to make a joke, but it just didn't land. It's horrible.
Now, what's weird about this? Multiple things are weird by this. In the 32 years that Tim Drake's been around, there has never been an internal monologue of Tim being remotely interested in boys. None.
So he keeps using the word weird. I think he says this multiple times throughout the video. And he talks about there's been a 32-year run of this character or whatever. This is a comic book guy. He should be very well aware of the fact that the DC continuity has been rebooted twice since Tim Drake was invented. So in this new continuity, maybe they took a different direction. This isn't the same Tim Drake that you read back in the 80s or the 90s or whatever. And the thing about the internal monologue, as if there's going to be a comic book where Batman and Robin are out beating up bad guys and Robin looks at one of the bad guys and one of the thugs and he's like, oh, he's fucking attractive, I want to sleep with him.
Now, I know that the alphabet community have tried to latch on to certain things and tried to pervert them into queer baiting. But sometimes just a friendship is just a friendship.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. One, he said the alphabet community, which is kind of an outdated meme. I get what you're going for, but that's just fucking offensive. And saying that the alphabet community are trying to latch on to certain things, but you're also saying that this has been hinted at and you've already made a video that you thought this was going to happen. So it's not like they're latching on to things. This is authorial intent. This has been planned and prepped and it's been coming a long while. But so you're not saying that people are just latching on to things. It's actually been a part of the story and they probably planned for this to happen.
They tried to read a lot into a couple of interactions in Teen Titans. Basically, the alphabet community had pointed at something and said, hey, DC, we want that. And we always get what we want. Do you know why? Because we scream and shout on Twitter until we get it. And we will call you all kinds of stuff if you don't do it.
So do you really think that the reason they implemented this in a comic book is because of what people said on Twitter? I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think they were trying to take a new, interesting approach, something that's unique to the character and hasn't been done before, something that has been hinted at and has been commented upon with this character before. Like, what sort of comic book writer bases a storyline around what people are saying on Twitter? That just doesn't happen. Like, it's for the sake of inclusion, I get that, but no one was screaming and shouting and say, we're going to call you all sorts of names if you don't do this. I think it was something that people were excited about because they wanted to have that type of inclusion in a character that they enjoy. But, like, who's screaming and shouting? There hasn't been, like, any petitions. There hasn't been, like, mobs of tweets that this has to happen, and that's why they bowed down to it, and they had no choice but to do it, or they'd get cancelled. It's literally just a creative decision that the writers made. It's literally taking the characters into the 21st century, reflecting feelings and emotions that real people actually have in real life.
Isn't the whole thing, you're born this way? You're born the way that you are. You're born straight, you're born gay, you're born bisexual. You're not born half the other stuff they've made up in the last couple of years, but don't worry about that.
Okay, so yeah, you are born this way. Some people take a long time to come around to what their sexual orientation is. Sometimes it's a journey. It's not just like you immediately always know. Some people figure out later in their lives. And also what he just said about you're not born half of the other stuff that they've made up in recent years. He's a fucking brave man. He didn't actually come out and say what he's trying to say, half of the other stuff, but I'm just not even going to mention that. I'm just going to breeze past. Like, he's trying to be edgy, he's trying to be brave, but he didn't have the balls to actually say what he thought there. I know what he's trying to get at. I think I know what he's trying to get at, but, like, just fucking say it, man. Like, if you want to be some sort of Sargon of Akkad clone, just fucking go full hog. Don't tiptoe around it like you're trying to do here.
And then suddenly, you want to take away that person's sexuality. Don't you think that's massively hypocritical?
It's not really suddenly taking away his sexuality. It's adding a layer on top of what he already has. So we knew that he was attracted to women, and now we know that he is also attracted to men. You're not taking anything away. You're building upon what's already been established.
So taking away from Tim just being a straight white male, that's fine. That's fine, because you want it. But let's say there was a gay character that you liked and they were turned into a straight character. There'd be uproar. Of course there would be uproar.
You said if there was a gay character and they turned him into a straight character, there'd be uproar. But that's not what happened here. There wasn't a straight character that was made into a gay character. There was a straight character made into a bisexual character. So if they had a gay superhero and it later was revealed that they are bisexual, that would be an interesting twist, and I don't think there would be uproar and there wouldn't be riots in the streets the way you're implying there would be.
It's fetishism. Oh, we got what we wanted. Oh, we wanted Tim to be gay, so we got us gay Tim. Thank you.
Okay, one, it's not fetishism. I don't think you understand what that means. And you keep saying that they made him gay, they wanted him to be gay. He isn't gay, he's bisexual. They're two completely separate things. So now he's going to bring up some tweets from people that are happy about this creative decision, and he's going to mock them, and he's going to do his ridiculous camp voice again.
We won, everyone. DC Comics for once were not cowards for gender, for sexuality swapping a character, an established 32-year-old character.
It's not sexuality swapping, it's building upon the sexuality that has been established. And he might be a 32-year-old character, but DC Rebirth happened in recent years. So if it's anything, they've built upon this continuity that's been established recently. It's not like it's the same continuity and it's the same timeline as the established Tim Drake that came out in the 80s.
You won? They weren't cowards? We won. We got them to bend the knee.
Bend the knee, fucking Game of Thrones reference. That's so timely. That's so relevant. That's so topical, mate. That's great. I love that. Bend the knee.
We got them. We got the weirdos to bow, to curtail to our tyranny. Yay!
Tyranny. People on Twitter wanting a character to be bisexual is tyranny. I think that's another word that he doesn't quite understand.
Finally! What we've been waiting years for. Why would you wait for somebody to turn? Somebody can't just turn because they're born that way.
This thing that he keeps saying of born that way is kind of a straw man argument. It's kind of well-established knowledge that people can be born and live their life as if they were straight and later find out or later come to the self-realization that they're bisexual or gay. That's not a completely new thing.
By the way, nobody here is buying any of these comics. You know, they might a couple of them might pirate them. You know, no, none of them buy them.
Okay, nobody here is buying any of these comics, right? Keep that in mind, because later in the video, he says that he dipped out of buying comics a couple of years ago. So he's kind of a hypocrite here himself. He's calling us all hypocrites for enjoying the fact that a character has grown and progressed. But he himself is saying, oh, you don't fucking read these comic books, but neither do you. You haven't fucking done that.
Oh my god. They say the word, they say the D word. This is infantilization, which is even sicker, by the way.
Infantilization. This guy just fucking ate a thesaurus today. This guy just bought his first dictionary yesterday. Instead of reading comics the last few years, he's been reading words in the dictionary. And he said it's sicker. Like he's using the words like weird and sick to describe a character being bisexual. I think that's very revealing of what this guy thinks.
I've been waiting for this since Superboy died and Tim slept with his shirt and cried every night. His best friend died. And because he cried, that ergo automatically means he's gay because he held his shirt. That ergo no. It's called camaraderie. It's called friendship. It's called bonding.
You can have camaraderie and friendship and bonding within a relationship, whether it be a straight relationship or a same-sex relationship. That's not a completely separate thing from a relationship.
Why does everything get twisted and perverted into something sexual?
Twisted and perverted. That's kind of a thing that like old school Christians would say about gay and bisexual and lesbian people. They'd use the word pervert or that it's perverted. I don't think there's any perversion involved in two characters of the same sex having attraction towards one another or having a relationship with one another.
That's degeneracy.
Degeneracy, like you sound like you're from the Westboro Baptist Church. You're calling a bisexual character a degenerate. Okay, so now he's going to go on a tangent and talk about other times that a character's sexuality has been altered or has evolved or changed from the original inception of the character.
But hey, look. Remember when, out of the blue, Marvel just suddenly turned Wolverine and Cyclops as well? Because they both fancied Jean Grey, the only way that you could resolve that instead of Jean Grey actually picking someone was to just go, hey Scott, yeah, what's that, Logan? Let's just cock it up. I mean, literally, let's just cock it up. Oh, okay.
Like, why does he keep talking about cock? Like, that's his go-to joke. He says that multiple times in the video. Yeah, we get it. I personally think the thing with Cyclops and Wolverine and Jean Grey, that adds another layer to the whole love triangle. So you have Cyclops and Wolverine that are both in love with Jean Grey, and you also have Wolverine and Cyclops being physically attracted to one another. That's an interesting dynamic. That hasn't really been done before. That's a more complex story, and there's more layers and detail to it. I like this thing he does here. He looks like fucking Professor X. He's like, he's trying to psychically tell us, like, don't be gay, don't be bisexual. How dare you?
That is fetishism. That is freakish. That is disturbing.
Freakish and disturbing. His language use is so derogatory and demeaning towards people of this type of orientation.
Remember when Iceman came out? Oh no, he didn't come out. He got told he was gay by Jean Grey. What's happening? Bobby, you're gay. Jean Grey did a mind trick on Bobby and turned him gay.
Maybe Jean Grey didn't do a mind trick on Bobby and turn him gay. Maybe Bobby just realised that he had been living a lie and that he wasn't straight and that he was actually gay, and he came to a point where he realised that he could be open and honest with himself and with others. This is a good part, right? He talks about Star-Lord being bisexual in the Marvel comics.
Marvel confirms Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord is bisexual when they brought him back. At the end of last year, suddenly he liked cock as well.
Yes, liking cock is definitely not an oversimplification of what a person who's bisexual experiences. And look, listen to his justification for it. Listen to why he thinks they did this. This is some fucking huge brain shit.
Now, this one seemed to be done out of spite because they don't like Chris Pratt, because Chris Pratt is on the wrong side of history, according to them.
I think it's hilarious that he says Marvel did this to spite Chris Pratt. Like, we've made your character more interesting. We've added another layer on who he can date and be attracted to. We've added some complexity to his attraction. We've developed, evolved, and grown the character somewhat. That's very spiteful of you. How dare you do that to Chris Pratt just because he loves God and posts about it on Instagram every single fucking day of his life?
So again, weaponization of sexuality.
Weaponization, Jesus, like, it's not a weapon. As I keep saying, they're growing, developing, and building upon these characters. They're adding a layer on top of it. It has nothing to do with the vendetta against Chris Pratt.
Where have we seen this before? Oh yeah, all day, every day. All day, every day.
Yes, all day, every day, people are using fictional characters to weaponize their sexuality against actors. That happens all day, every day. Yeah, like just the other day, the Broccoli family released that James Bond is bi, so they obviously just fucking hate Daniel Craig and they're weaponizing that against him. This happens all day, every day, boys. Have you not heard about this before?
And of course, there was always implied lesbian / bisexuality with Harley Quinn, but let's just whack that on the cover. Just in case anyone had any doubt.
Maybe it's kind of a pride thing. It's kind of showing people that we're proud of having a character that's in some way diverse or untypical compared to the majority of society. Like, it's a fantastic marketing tool. Do you know what I mean?
Let's just go there. Even though Poison Ivy was with Kite Man.
Poison Ivy was with Kite Man. That means she can't possibly experience any attraction towards women. As if this whole fucking video hasn't been about bisexuals. As if he's never heard of a fucking bisexual before. She can have dated Kite Man and also have attraction to Harley Quinn. It one does not negate the other. Also, fucking Kite Man. Kite Man is like the most D-list, shitty, like ridiculous character ever. And he's bringing him up like, well, you couldn't do this to Kite Man. You couldn't negate his relationship with Poison Ivy. Who gives a fuck about the time that Poison Ivy went out with Kite Man? Who even is aware of who Kite Man is?
It's all so freakish and weird, folks. Freakish and weird.
Freakish and weird. And in case you missed that, he doubles down and says it again. What's freakish and weird about same-sex attraction? What's freakish and weird about bisexuality or homosexuality? Nothing. It's completely normal.
Why don't you... I know this is going to sound crazy, but why don't you create a new character and do it to them?
I love his maniacal laughter. He sounded like a fucking villain. I mean, I get why they added it to an existing character instead of creating a new character, because there's already some limelight on Robin, on Tim Drake. People are aware of this character, and it might reach more people. The message of inclusivity and the message of bisexuality is a spectrum and people can change as they get older. So I get why they didn't just create a new character and make him bisexual, because people like you would be slating that character and making fun of it. The fact that this is Tim Drake got it more press and publicity. So I think it was a good thing that they did it this way.
Of course, because it's not about creating something, it's always about taking away.
It's not taking away. Nothing has been taken away. They didn't come to your house and take away all your old Tim Drake comics. They're all still there. Nothing's been taken away from you. They've changed, evolved, and progressed the character. If you've read comic books, you know that they often evolve, and there's often different things that happen to them, and they get new powers, or they lose their powers, or they get a new costume. Like, these characters aren't set in stone and identical every single time you read them. There's a certain level of status quo, but it's part of comic book culture that these characters have variations in them in different iterations as time goes on. And this guy knows this very well because he's obviously the biggest fucking comic book fan in the world. He spent like 5 minutes at the start of the video just listing comic books that he had read.
What about the gay characters that have been created before? No. What about the black characters that have been created before? No. Only those straight, white, male characters are legitimate, and they have to be taken away.
That's a very interesting clip to just use completely out of context. Only the straight white male characters are legitimate. Just clip that. Just put that everywhere. And they're not taken away. Like, the characters are still there. You know what I mean? They've changed something about them. They've added a new revelation about them. But they still exist. They haven't been taken away from you.
It's sick. It's freakish. It's weird. I'm glad that I dipped out of comics about a year or so ago now.
Yeah, you dipped out of comics a year or so ago. So why do you give a fuck? This isn't, like, you're not keeping up to date with these comics. This isn't something that you're reading on an ongoing basis. Why do you care so much that you're making this long of a fucking video ranting and raving about how it's sick and freakish and weird that this character evolved?
Gary and I, buying mainstream new comics. Now we just buy back issues.
Who's Gary? Is Gary your partner? I'm guessing Gary's your lover boy, is he?
I've got myself some new Teen Titans, Wolfman Perez, from the early 80s. When comics were good.
When comics were good. I hate this generalization of when comics were good or when movies were good. They're still good. If you're willing to look for the decent material, you will find it. Just because they're adding modern values to it doesn't mean that they're not good anymore, that they were better back in the 80s.
And people weren't afraid to just establish characters, new characters as well, bring in new characters.
This is funny because he's talking about, they're afraid to establish new characters. They're afraid to bring in new characters. On the screen, you can see a new character, Robin's would-be boyfriend, I guess, or whoever he's going to go out with. That's a new character. They've established this new character. So, they're afraid to establish new characters, apart from the new character that's currently on screen.
Again, as the great young Ripper says, it's only those straight, white, male characters are legitimate. And they're the ones that need to be taken. Need to be race swapped, gender swapped, sexuality swapped.
This thing about like race swapped and gender swapped is kind of interesting because, for example, the moniker of Captain America went to the Falcon, so there was a black Captain America. The moniker of Thor went to Jane Foster, who became a female Thor. So they're not being race swapped and gender swapped. The moniker is being passed on to another character, which is something that happens very often in comic books. Except the thing that people like this don't like about it is the fact that it's being passed on to not a straight white male.
As another DC comic book writer, James Tynion, runs and leaves DC, the person who was writing Batman, to go on to something, a blogging site. Well, at least he doesn't have to pretend to be bisexual anymore.
Pretend to be bisexual? Is that how you think it works? People are just pretending to be bisexual? Like, it's not an orientation, it's not an experience of attraction, it's something that you pretend? Wow, this guy is fucking tapped. So my final thoughts on this issue would be, people online are fucking mad about this, and I don't understand why. Essentially, it's somewhat of an alteration to the status quo. It's slightly different than stuff that we've seen before. It comes as shocking to some people, even though it really shouldn't. There's a lot of discourse online about comic books are for children. You're only marketing this towards children. You're pushing it on children. There's like, you read The Killing Joke, you read Dark Knight Returns, you read a lot of comic books. They're not primarily for children. A lot of adults read them. And if a comic book is deemed unsuitable for children, there'll be a label on it that says parental advisory, or it says not suitable for children, or suitable for mature audiences. So that argument is false. People are saying shit like, they're taking my childhood away, or they're ruining my childhood. Like, your 60s Batman cartoon is still there, your Batman animated shows are still there, your old Batman comics are still there, everything that has Robin in it is still there. This is a new continuity, this is a new story, and this is contained to that. I mean, it's called Batman Urban Legends, and so it's probably not even fucking canon if you really think about it. And also, like, as I said, DC reboots their continuity every few years. So it's the same as what happened when they made Thor a woman, same that what happened when they made Captain America black. Comic book fans are just fucking losers, and they people just aren't ready for any differences in their comic book characters, which is ridiculous. Like, these characters get superhuman powers, they have unnatural abilities, they're capable of doing things that are completely fictional. Yet, if one of them is slightly changed from being a straight white cis male, then suddenly everyone loses their fucking mind. So yeah, I was going to react to more. I had some comments that I found online in another video, but I think I've said everything I need to say. Leave me a dislike and a negative comment, please. I fucking feed off that shit. And definitely unsubscribe if you disagree with me. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and go watch fucking that dickhead's full video so you know I'm not taking it out of context. Peace.